Within the realm of epistemology, specifically the sociological study of knowledge, the concept of reflexivity is central, focusing on the cyclical relationship between cause and effect as it pertains to human belief systems. Reflexivity involves multidirectional relationships where both cause and effect mutually influence one another within complex social structures. This intricate relationship deepens when factoring in the influence of religion on our understanding of knowledge. Originating in sociology, reflexivity denotes a self-referential act where being prompts introspection. Here, the thought process turns inward, reflecting upon and influencing the self. Notably, reflexivity denotes an individual's ability to identify social influences and adjust their societal position accordingly. Lower reflexivity suggests an individual molded largely by their societal context, while higher reflexivity denotes self-determination of personal norms, tastes, political beliefs, desires, and more, likening to the idea of autonomy. In economics, reflexivity illustrates the amplifying quality of market sentiment, where increasing prices attract more buyers, leading prices to elevate further until the trend becomes unsustainable. This reflects a positive feedback loop. However, this cycle can also propel a disastrous drop in prices. In theoretical contexts, reflexivity can occur when a discipline's framework applies not only to its subject matter, but to its practitioners as well. For instance, the theories that construct knowledge in sociology should apply to the sociologists themselves. Likewise, reflexivity arises when observers within a system influence the very situations they observe, or the formulation of a theory impacts the behavior of those it was intended to objectively model. For example, an anthropologist living within a remote village may influence that village and its inhabitants under study hints. Reflexivity is a methodological aspect in social sciences akin to the observer's effect. In the strong program of recent sociology of science, reflexivity is advocated as a methodological norm, denoting that comprehensive theoretical depictions of societal constructs like scientific, religious, or ethical knowledge systems should be explainable by the same principles used to construct these systems. This highlights a key element of naturalized epistemologies. Such theories of knowledge enable specific research fields to shed light on other fields as part of an overall self-evaluative process. This underlines the significance of any research field examining the processes of knowledge in the broadest sense. Reflexivity, a blend of self-conscious exploration and societal behavior analysis, reflects on the construct where theories about societal relations are probed. This concept, first articulated by sociologists William I. Thomas and Dorothy Swain Thomas, is encapsulated in their 1928 book The Child in America's Statement. If men define situations as real, they are real in their consequences. This hypothesis was later referred to as the Thomas theorem. Sociologist Robert K. Merton expanded on this theorem to delineate the idea of a self-fulfilling prophecy, which suggests that predetermined predictions influence individuals' actions to the extent that a potentially false statement could become true, or a true one. False, the prophecy impacts the eventual outcomes, altering them from the original trajectory. Karl Popper further broached the subject of reflexivity in science through his book The Poverty of Historicism in 1957, wherein he discusses the crux of a prediction's impact on the projected event, coining this the Oedipus effect. Initially, Popper associated this self-fulfilling prophecy with social sciences, but later discerned similar traits within natural sciences. Reflexivity imposes a challenge to scientific analysis, since a prediction's potential to influence the system it pertains to complicates the assessments of scientific hypotheses against actual events. This difficulty intensifies in the realm of social sciences. Within economic science, the issue of reflexive prediction has been investigated and served a crucial role in the Lucas critique discourse. The problem corresponds to methodological issues within economic science stemming from reflexivity within the sociology of scientific knowledge. SEHE, literature, modern takes on the structure, agency problem have identified reflexivity as both a hurdle and a solution. Key concepts like Anthony Giddens' structuration theory and Pierre Bourdieu's genetic structuralism incorporate reflexivity. Giddens emphasized the theme of increasing societal self-awareness over time in what he referred to as reflexive modernity. Bourdieu argued that inherent biases in social scientists can only be mitigated by becoming reflexively aware of them, striving for the practice of objective science. For Bourdieu, reflexivity represents part of the solution, not the problem. Renowned economic intellect George Soros, inspired by his mentor Karl Popper's theories, popularized the significance of reflexivity in the economics realm, indicating its pivotal role in the phenomenal success of his financial enterprise. First introduced in his 1987 book, The Alchemy of Finance, reflexology is a theory dismissed by the universally accepted equilibrium model of economics, which posits markets self-rectify towards equilibrium, discarding non-equilibrium manipulations as brief, insignificant noise. This traditional economic model suggests that long-term equilibrium prices are indicative of the underlying economic indicators and function independently of price effect. Contrarily, reflexivity proposes an interconnected chain reaction where prices do indeed intervene with the fundamental economics. This interaction engenders an adjusted set of fundamental principles which consequently transform expectations. Directly impacting prices, this creates a continuous cyclical pattern. This self-perpetuating spiral drives markets away from equilibrium, ultimately reaching a crescendo where reversing sentiments inaugurate a self-propelling downward momentum, fitting the depiction of economic boom and bust cycles. Soros refers to the pro-cyclical phenomenon of lending as an example, which amplifies this cycle. He further alludes to property pricing as an essentially reflexive event where the bank's lending amounts reflect their assessment of the property's worth, which in turn influences property prices. Soros credits his firm grip on reflexivity as his competitive advantage, contributing significantly to his trading triumph. For a long time, mainstream economic thinkers rejected the principle of reflexivity. Yet, the 2008 financial meltdown spurred interest in Soros's philosophy with more discourse in academic circles, economists, and investors. Renowned economist and ex-Financial Times columnist Anatoly Kaletsky suggests that Soros's reflexivity model offers a better understanding of the Chinese economics and the government's management strategies. Soros backed the launch of the Institute for New Economic Thinking in 2009 to foster and refine reflexivity. The Institute particularly favors heterodox economics, chiefly the post-Keynesian branch. The field of anthropology has given two key interpretations to reflexivity. One that points to the researcher's introspection on how their own connection impacts their field of study, and another that deliberates on how cultural rituals involve self-awareness and self-commentary. The first interpretation hails from social science's introspection centered around theories by intellectuals such as Michel Foucault on the relationship between power and the creation of knowledge. Reflexivity in the research method champions the critique on anthropology's colonial roots and scientific styles, a movement popularized by scholars like James Clifford and George Marcus and shared by many others in this discipline. Originating from literature criticism and philosophy and dealing with the relations among the academics, the people in texts, their textual representations, this approach has revolutionized ethical and methodological standards in anthropology, drawing inspiration from feminist and anti-colonial critiques. The reflexive perspective appreciates the political and academic impact of representation. It also underscores the importance of understanding the process of writing culture. In grasping the ethnographer's situation in the field, the objectification of cultures and people is now mostly declined in favor of methods that recognize local values and aspirations. Nevertheless, the writing cultures method has been criticized by many anthropologists for potentially diluting the field's scientific foundation with too much self-analysis on fieldwork relationships. Intense debate still continues on postmodernism and reflexivity within the discipline. The second interpretation of reflexivity explores how people and cultural customs can be self-referential. This perspective can be traced back to Roman Jacobson's studies on the pointer function of language and linguistic poetry. Mikhail Bakhtin's work on carnival events also greatly influenced this perspective. Within anthropology, Gregory Bateson expanded on the subtleties of communication with his concept of meta messages, while Clifford Geertz's research emphasized the role of ritual events like the Balinese cockfight as platforms for collective reflection on societal structure. Further exploration of play and trickster cultural elements broadened the scope of reflexive cultural studies. The dialogue surrounding the incorporation of reflexivity into international relations first emerged during the third debate of the late 1980s, a period of critical departure from the established positivist orthodoxy. The transition towards post-positivism underscored the theoretical role of reflexivity, emphasizing factors such as self-awareness of fundamental pretexts, the political implications of theoretical models, and the ability to appraise different paradigms despite the inherent subjectivity. Knowledge production. The focus on reflexivity has been successfully adopted by various contemporary socio-political perspectives within international relations, including constructivism, post-structuralism, feminism, and others, since the 1990s. Patrick Thaddeus Jackson's seminal work, The Conduct of Inquiry in International Relations, cites reflexivity as one of the four primary methodologies of modern international relations research, joining neopositivism, critical realism, and analyticism. Critics like Flanagan argue that reflexivity's characteristic implications of self-examination and adaptation raise consequential questions about the social sciences' ability to match the precision of hard sciences, such as physics. The inherently reflective nature of social systems separates them from physical systems, questioning the foundational tenets of social science. In response to this challenge, contemporary scholars have begun transitioning reflexivity from being an abstract theoretical concept to a practical research tool. Among these scholars, notable mention goes to Professor Audrey Alejandro, whose trilogy on reflexive methods offers a series of practical applications for the concept. His three-part series addresses methodological implications and potential applications of reflexivity, focusing on how scholars' awareness of their personal perspectives can shape the knowledge production process. The trilogy presents methods such as reflexive discourse analysis and provides exhaustive protocols for scrutinizing linguistic categories. The final guide in the series further extends these methodologies by introducing the reflexive review, a technique designed to add reflexivity to literature reviews.